Rob, thank you so much for taking the time with me today. I can't wait to hear more about what you're building with Lazzaro Medical.
Thank you, Logan. It's great to be here.
So let's start high level. Talk to me about the challenge. Talk to me about what was broken in healthcare that really caused you to jump into this as a CEO.
Thanks for the question. I'm going to answer that question, but I want you to start with a quick exercise around our particular problem and disease that'll bring it home for you. So what we're going to do is I just want you to take one breath in and then one breath out. And then on the second one, I want you to exhale as much as you can. It's like more than you've ever exhaled in your life, and just hold it. So we'll do that together. We'll just breathe in and we're going to breathe all the way out, and then we're just going to hold. Ready?
Okay.
So breathe in and then breathe all the way out. And when you think you can't breathe out anymore, breathe out a little bit more. And hold that. And breathe in. So that feeling where you have no air and you are in that moment of panic is how my patients, our patients, and millions of people feel every day. And it is scary and it is unbelievable, and until now there's been no solution for that feeling. They have a disease called TBM, tracheobronchomalacia, which is as we age, or even sometimes because of disease or COVID, your body gets affected, your knees. So in life, your knees and cartilage sometimes need to be replaced. Same thing with hips, they need to be replaced as you age. Well, the trachea is made of cartilage, and the trachea starts to fail. And unfortunately, in today's world, it's misdiagnosed. It's the most common disease that no one's heard of. And what happens is your trachea is supposed to look like this, and it slowly starts to fail. And there's no cure for that, at least there hasn't been, that was viable until now, until Lazzaro Medical.
And when it starts to fail, the symptoms are cough, lack of air,
chronic cough, and it's mostly diagnosed or misdiagnosed as COPD, so chronic cough.
So the symptoms are easy to miss because they're the kinds of things that we have sort of neglected as people age.
That's right. And there's been an open procedure where they have to do a major opening to the body to get to the trachea. And by the time this has been diagnosed, the patients are usually too sick to get that procedure. So 7 years ago, a woman came to Dr. Lazzaro and said, Dr. Lazzaro, you know about tracheobronchomalacia, you've done this open, you're one of the most renowned robot surgeons in the world, and I am told to go home and get my affairs in order. I am going to die because they can't fix my trachea. Would you do this non-invasively with the robot? Would you try to fix my trachea? And to his credit, he said yes. He patched up her trachea, and 3 days later, she walked out of the hospital and went to start playing golf a few weeks later. So her life was saved and she was repaired. And so the real challenges now, Logan, are three. It's a very long procedure still. So we have we've patented a device that's basically a scaffold that goes onto the trachea and takes its shape from this to this, right? So that opens the trachea. And we're working on the diagnostics piece of this, which is a big problem as well because it is so poorly diagnosed. So we're working on an AI solution where we can go into an ENT office like Howard, like you go to a doctor's office, and go in through the nose and see that you actually have a collapsed trachea. And then we can then say that will not get better. It's not, you can't use steroids to fix this. You can't use other medicines to fix this. This is a physical problem that we can now fix non-invasively, and you don't have to suffer for the rest of your life.
Wow. So just to recap, so we had millions of people who were being misdiagnosed, who maybe had TBM, this collapsing trachea. They were being told, no, you've got COPD, you've got chronic cough, whatever it is. Told to just go live your life, not able to take a full breath, not able to sleep, all these sorts of things.
Exactly.
And then they get to a point when it's so extreme that the only option is a incredibly invasive 6, 7, 8 hour surgery that then it has all these complications. It is dangerous.
That's right.
Okay.
That was yesterday's news.
Okay.
And now we've got the robotic non-invasive approach. It's still a long surgery, and it's really there's a few. Dr. Lazzaro now has trained 13.
Tell me about Dr. Lazzaro.
Yeah. So he's a renowned robotic surgeon, thoracic surgeon. He built Lenox Hill into a thoracic powerhouse. He has now just moved to Robert Woods Johnson to do the same thing. Remarkable teacher, lover of his art. He really is an artist in effect, but an amazing technician. And we were buddies from Union College, and so he did the first ever of these 7 years ago. He has since done 150, and about 3 years ago he called me and said, I have got something major here. There's millions of people that need this. I need to bring this to the world. I'm not a business guy. You're my business guy, because he knew that I was a crazy serial entrepreneur and I would actually take this thing on. And he said, let's team up, and I've got the tools, I've got the techniques, I've got the IP, you've got the business acumen, let's get together and change the world.
Just to help people understand the sort of the ecosystem in which you're operating, kind of relate this to how in other surgeries we've gone from long surgeries, highly invasive, to non-invasive robotic surgeries, and that things like a total hip can become almost commonplace and low risk.
That's right.
It's like, how does this sort of fit into that larger landscape?
I think you've framed it out very well, and I think the other piece of this is that it's there, when there is no cure for a disease or a problem, then it goes untreated and unnoticed, and so this procedure is truly a cure, Logan. It's remarkable, right? And so now ENTs and pulmonologists can say, the one line that they heard about this in their med school career, where it's like, somebody has TBM, there's not much you can do. You care for them the way you can through steroids and others, but basically there's no real solution. But now there is, and so just like with hernias and with TAVR, devices for blockage in the heart or for heart valve replacement. Those things never really existed until the evolution was there for that to happen. And so we've now gotten to a place where there's actually a cure. So doctors can say, wait a minute, let's look at this. Let's see if there's, because what would you do? You look at it and say, sorry, you don't want to go through that surgery. But now you can look at it and say, my gosh, there's a solution. And by the way, Harvard's doing it, Yale's doing it, the major hospitals of the world that Dr. Lazzaro has trained are all super excited about this, and the Cleveland Clinic is going to be opening up a specialty just in TBM. They're having their own specialty at the Cleveland Clinic on TBM.
I was just going to ask, kind of where does it go from here? Because you said he's done 150 and you want to scale it to millions.
That's right.
Okay, so that has to come through what? Education and program. So kind of what's next?
So we are building the platform, we're building the diagnostics, we're ready to go, and really what's next is we're starting to get our funding in place. I've self-funded this now for the last few years, so we're really starting to go to the marketplace. We really believe in de-risking businesses before we take money. I just want to know that we've got a path. I understand where we go and how we fly. We have that now, so we're just beginning our fundraise. We have two strategics that are very interested in a term sheet from one of them, so very excited about that. Really ready to blow this out, build the other medical device, which is a double lumen trach tube, and then the diagnostic piece, which is also huge.
So there's a product that's been designed, patented.
That's right. We're patent pending for the scaffold, which is the actual scaffold that writes the trachea. And then we have a double lumen tube that will make this surgery an hour or so less time. And then we have this the diagnostic piece, which is huge, because then you go to a doctor's office and they show you this is not going to get better with steroids, right? So,
interesting. Well, my point is that this is a multifactorial situation where you're talking about the education piece, the diagnostic piece, the product piece, and bringing that all together in a way that can scale.
That's right. And you've hit the education piece, and that's super important too.
If this scales the way that you hope and you want to help millions of people, kind of how long do you think it will take before this is available to a larger group?
I think we're 18 months away from 510K approval for the patch, and we're off to the races.
Wow.
So it's really exciting.
Exciting.
But remember, it's been 3 years, so it's 5 years to the hurdle.
Oh yeah, I know. That's how it is.
But the window is now shrunk to 18 months. Super excited. We're just on course to get our 510K. We're just starting to go through regulatory, so we're hoping, and it could be, knock on wood, it could be a little bit less time. So,
that's awesome.
And now that we have Startup Health, we're on fire.
I mean, that's the story of the startups. You know, everyone's a 5 or 6 or 7 or 10-year overnight success.
Right.
They work and work and work and
Right.
work.
We
and
like to
something
think it's
snaps.
18 months, but it is a long haul. And I know that from my,
gotta do the work.
in my other businesses, I thought it was going to be 3 years, and I call it 13 years to the overnight
Yeah.
success. Yeah.
It's you got to do the work. Well, Rob, I love what you're doing. I love you're bringing focus to this population. Really, some folks that felt like they had no other options. You know, I know folks who are 65, have a lot of life left to live, feel like they can't breathe. Just some of these chronic issues that rob people of life. And I've seen some of your testimonial videos and how this gives them the ability to breathe again, and it's amazing. So keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Logan.
And,
really appreciate it.
I'll be watching.
Thank you. Thanks
right.
so much. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.